Hi, this is my first video tutorial. It is about the research module HMLLB80 for UNISA, and the first thing we need to look at are the rules. So if you go to TUT 101, it says content of assignment. You'll see that the details are as follows. Assignment 1 is one-page outline of the research paper focusing on the problem statement. More information on this is provided in section 3.3 of tutorial 102. So we'll go there just now. First we'll go to 102 for something else. And we are now in tutorial 102 for the research module, and this is part of the rules, and this is very important. These are the formal requirements that UNISA requires as to how you have to set your research paper out or your essay out, or how they'd like it to be done. It's very simple. It's in bullet form. It says your assignment and final research paper must be typed in Arial 11 font. All paragraphs should be in 1.5 spacing with 12-point spacing after each paragraph. The margin should be 2.5 left, top, right, and bottom. Footnotes should be typed in Arial 10 font in single space, so no spaces after the paragraph, and with a hanging indent of 1.27. Numbering of headings should be consequential, Arabic numbering, main headings in caps and bold, blah, 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 blah. And your title page must contain the following information: the name, surname, and student number, the correct title of your research paper, the title, name, and surname of your supervisor, the department in which you are doing research. Please note that submissions that exceed the maximum length will not be marked. I cannot reiterate this. It is very important that students follow these formal requirements to the T. You will be punished for not following these requirements. You will lose marks. In fact, if you consistently do not follow these formal requirements, you will fail. Your professor or whoever is marking your research module will fail you if you decide, let's say for example, it says that your research paper needs to be 10 pages, but that your font needs to be 11. So although you may think, wait a minute, I can change my font to a smaller font, and I could squeeze my 11-page paper into a 10-page paper, that's not going to work. You will get marked accordingly for every paragraph and every page that your font is incorrect. And if that happens, they will deduct enough marks to fail you. So follow these instructions, these formal requirements for all your assignments, for your essays, and obviously this final research paper. And this is on page 23 of tutorial 102 for the research. Let's go back quickly to TUT 101, where it says assignment 1 is a one-page outline of the research paper focusing on the problem statement. More information will be provided on TUT 102. Great. So the first assignment is focusing basically a problem statement. So let's go there quickly. And scroll up. Okay. 3.3. The problem statement. Now that you've established what the problem is, which sources you need to consult, and have a system keeping track of your sources. In other words, now you are now ready to state your problem or your argument. The problem statement does two things. It shows your supervisor that you understood the problem, and it'll guide you through the rest of the process of writing the research report. In essence, the problem statement is the culmination of the FIA process, which is given earlier in this tutorial, which you can read yourself. Basically, it's a brief summary of the facts, and you have to look at various cases, summarize these cases, and analyze the problem. Then you need to, it says here, an exposition of the issues that you will be addressing. Then you need to indicate the law applicable to a problem, and then after that you have to provide your supervisor with what they call a roadmap. Basically, this just tells them what you have, where you're going, and how you're going to get to your conclusion. And you've got to say, first I will analyze the case law, and then I'll do the common law, and then I will evaluate them, and then I'll come to my conclusion. Basically, that's what they want from you. After that, students have emailed me before, and they want to know what the first part of the assignment should look like. Many think it's just your first page, basically this here, your introduction, which is your problem statement, but it is not. What is required is actually, first of all, the cover page, as you can see there. There's the title. As you can see, there's certain connotations. Here it says draft, and here it says confidential. You see, this was actually mine that I've submitted. So please do not copy any of it. I'm just showing you what the format is, what UNISA requires for the first part of your research module. Mine says, in the best interests of the child, alternate dispute resolution, etc., etc. By confidential, in part fulfillment of the requirements of the degree of an LLB degree at the University of South Africa. My supervisor was confidential. My student number is confidential. Research paper for the Department of Private Law, UNISA, April, etc., etc. Then the next page, which must also be included, is a table of contents. As you can see, it says mine has got table of contents, it's got introduction, it's got the cases, legislation, developments pertaining to the law and to the child, the use of alternate dispute resolution, custody matters, High Court, conclusion. And then at the bottom here, I've got bibliography. So that's basically what it looks like. That is now on page 2. Then on the next page is my actual argument, which is what they were looking for. There I've got my heading, a child's interest, etc., etc. It says here introduction, and this is the introduction page that they're looking for. And that's basically what I've written. It gives an argument or an outline of what I thought the problem was, what cases I will be going through, what issues came out of the case, the different sections of the law, for example, court decisions, legislation, the Constitution, international conventions, and articles. And then at the bottom of this page is my citations, which are done in the correct font, and so is my writing has been done in the correct font. In fact, everything on this page has been done correctly. So we can move on to the next, which must also be included in your first assignment for the research is a brief bibliography. Although this is the complete bibliography I put in the end, but this must be in here. It's a bibliography. It includes the books and the journals that are used, including with full citations and names and dates. And there's also internet sources. And there's a table of cases that I've included, which must also be included if you've used cases, which you will. There's a table of legislation and statutes and international documents. So, briefly, we'll run through this one more time. What is required for the first assignment for your research module? First thing that's required is a title page with the title of your research module, your name, which degree it's for, which university, who your supervisor is, your student number, and which department of law or which department you are doing the research for, and then followed by the date. Then the next page needs to be your table of contents with at least an introduction, cases, basically setting out how you're going to number everything. Obviously, if it's law, you'll use cases, legislation, common law, things of that nature. And then it must be set out and numbered correctly according to your table of contents. And then the next page is the actual writing part, where you've got your title page. You've got your title, then you've got your introduction, and you've got your argument. Here, where it says in introduction, it should have been numbered. Number 1. Don't make that mistake, like I did. They're penalized for everything. And don't forget your citations at the bottom. And then after that is a brief bibliography, which includes your table of cases and any other sources, including internet sources, and your table of legislation. So, that's what's required for the first part of the research module. Now, that concludes the end of part 1 for the research module. And just a quick disclaimer, I'm not a qualified attorney, and I am not dispensing with any legal advice, and I'm not a lecturer, and I do not work for UNISA. These are my own views, and enjoy your legal studies.